do 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 do. Welcome, travelers. Welcome to Bible Study Devotional BMX Flatland Learning. Now, I know these streams are very awkward to do. They're still awkward. I mean, I guess not the BMX part of it is awkward, right? Because, just the Bible study segment is quite awkward to do. But, I don't know if this is just this season that I am in within the faith or something. But I'll be really, really honest. These streams have been making me, I feel even get deeper into the faith. And what's weird, as I keep going upon this journey of the stream, right? Especially doing these Bible studies, man, they're very bizarre, man. Now the reason why it got me into the streaming thing of doing the Bible studies in the beginning, right, was actually from other believers that stream on Twitch and on YouTube and stuff like that, right? I kind of been observing what they've been doing, right? And, I kind of tiptoed into it, right? I was like tiptoeing into it. And then like, once I started fully going into it, man, it almost felt like I've been it sounds strange. It almost has made it a little bit more fun. And it's kind of made it, a little, I don't even know what the word to use. It's almost like made me realize to accept that we're going to just fail, right? And I think that's the weird thing, right? I think that's the very, very strange thing about streaming, right? Because generally if I'm like, say I'm like filming a clip, right? Even like if I'm not streaming at all, it's like I'm so used to being like, okay, I could just cut out all those clips. I say something wrong, I could just cut it out, right? But what's weird about the stream is it's like, first off, it's way easier. You just have to set it up and you just press two buttons. You can type in, just press one button, you're good to go, right? But then the weird thing is it's almost like you can't edit it out. So you just gotta go with the flow. And it's so weird. It's just very interesting. And so today, I know we've looked this topic up I've looked this topic up, but today we're gonna go into like particularly what I'm curious about, which I actually don't really hear too many pastors really bring up. I mean, I'm sure if I were to type in on YouTube, failure sermon, YouTube, and then just press search, right? Pretty sure a bunch of them would come up, but I haven't really, I haven't really looked it up. So we're gonna just look it up right now and just see. There is a verse that's kind of getting me to think about it, though. And it's making me think about that proverb, right? Something about, like, what proverb is it? Something about falling down. No, it's like, what is that? I forgot about it. It's like something about the righteous fall 7 times but rises again, but the wicked stumble in times of calamity. I think that's what it is. Let's see if we can find it. Let's see if we can find it. And then we will, after this Bible study, we'll get into a BMX stream. And yeah, man, these streams are super, super awkward. And they still are awkward. That's the weird thing. And it's strange that we're still going for it. I honestly, this is the weirdest thing about it, right? Because I kind of like experimented with it, right? I was just like, well, I see all these other believers over, and that's the other weird thing. I feel like, I'll be really frank. Like, I feel like if there was a bunch of BMX riders on Twitch, I probably never would have even done the Bible studies. I probably would have been like, oh, well, I see what they're doing. I'm just going to do that, right? I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to ride my bike, right? But what's weird is that, like, I don't know if God just did this for a reason, but, like, what was weird is, like, I went on to Twitch. I thought there was actually going to be a bunch of skaters, like, BMX riders and stuff like that. But what's weird is I actually met more believers on Twitch, right? And then just, I was like kind of already into it. I was kind of, and I just observing the other believers. That was what's weird, right? Just seeing how they're doing. I'm like, that's really interesting. And it got me thinking about so many things over the years that pastors have said, right? It's almost like it's, you know, like when some things you hear and they just start, you almost just start visualizing it. You're like, holy moly, this person's actually almost kind of doing it, right? Well, this is what these other believers that I've been observing, not these believers inspired me to do it, right? And the thing is that it was like so many things that I'm pretty sure if you been to church, or and I'm not, and the thing is, I've actually looked this up within many denominations, right? Almost across the board, many denominations. I mean, in some degree, I almost think every denomination would agree with this, but so I hear so many sermons and pastors, always bring up like, try and put God first, like try and give God everything, and that God gives us what we need to ultimately give him the glory and things of this nature, right? And it just, it really like almost started making me think about my own, how could I devote, and it was actually the other weird thing, right? I started seeing this word a lot, right? And I don't know why, maybe it was just a random word, right? But maybe it's because I play a lot of RPG games too. But there's this word devotion, right? This, for some odd reason, this word, I don't know about other people, but like for some reason, like I'll see some words and they just like, for some reason it'll, I don't know, maybe it's just chance or coincidence, but have you ever had some words that just keep you just start seeing them a lot and you're like, what in the world? And you start looking it up a little bit more and you're like, wait a minute, that's kind of strange, right? But there's this word devotion, right? And I started like looking deeper into it, and it kind of like got me more being like, you know what, maybe I should. And then I started seeing it, and that's how it kind of started off, right? It was like I started seeing these little words like devotion, and then I started seeing people doing their Bible study devotionals, right? Which this is kind of what this is at this moment. It's like, it's almost like a devotional of trying to devote a little bit of time to the Lord of Lords and King of Kings, to hopefully plant some seeds of faith, or just seek first the kingdom of God. I think that's the other thing why I do this, because actually when I first started doing these streams, right, I was like thinking, man, I probably shouldn't do the Bible study in the beginning, right? I had that major doubt. Like there was a major doubt where I was like, man, I shouldn't do this Bible study in the beginning. Like, this is like super cringy. A bunch of people ain't gonna like this. But now it's at the point where I've read Matthew 6:33 so many times. We've read so many commentaries on it about seeking first the kingdom of God, right? And trying to put God first, right? So this is at the point why I put these Bible studies in the very beginning. And I know it's very weird, but we're trying it, right? And overall, I think there's another thing about maybe putting God first, right? In terms of how we've been doing it right now, is it's I'm pretty sure if I were to do the Bible study after I rode my bike, right, I wouldn't have as much like enthusiasm and zeal, because sometimes I just get so tired, right? I'm just like, oh, I just want to like, just eat and just chill out, right? But I feel like if you just put it right in the beginning, it's like you can at least kind of put some fresh zeal and fresh energy and fervency into what you're trying to do, right, before you get into it. And hopefully maybe that's what God wants. I mean, I think in terms of the verses, what they say, that's what it seems like God wants, right? But take my word as a grain of salt. We're doing this Bible study, hopefully together. You can join in on the journey and see where we get to. I mean, it'd be great. I mean, sometimes I wonder how long is this even going to keep going, right? Because what's weird is there's this other streamer, and she listens to this audio Bible, right? She listens to this audio Bible, and I don't really watch other streamers that much, right? But I hopped into her stream one day, and like this dude was saying that this dude's been doing it for like every day for 17 years. And I'm just like, what in the world? Like, how? What? Like, I was just like, dude. I mean, when he said that, I was like, wow. Like that's some straight devotion right there, man. Like doing something every single day for 17 years, bro. And when he said that, like this flash memory, like hit me. I was like, man, and like just looking back, I'm like, dude, I can only imagine all the things that I just got bored of and I just totally have forgotten about, right? And it's interesting now that I look and see like what are the things that kind of stuck with me, right? Because there's been so many things. I honestly think they just kind of been like a waste of time at this point now, because there's just been so many things that I got into. I put so much energy into it, right? And now I look back at it, I'm just like, I didn't even, like, it's totally just been, I don't even think about that stuff anymore. It's like, it's just been like, I could have invested that energy into, other things, but who knows, right? Let's see here. What was that? Like, we were going into failure. What does God think about failure, right? Because I think that's the other weird thing about streaming, is that it's almost like you have to accept your failures. You have to accept that you're just going to fail in front of people, right? Especially with the BMX stuff, right? Especially with the flatland thing. And that's what's been really weird, right? Is because it's almost like, I don't even know, man. Some of these tricks, like, they've been taking me so long, and I don't know if I'm a very slow learner or something like that. I think I probably am. But the thing is that some of these tricks, they flat out feel impossible. And for some odd reason, I don't know what, I think there almost comes a level, right? Here, this is actually what I'm starting to notice about flatland, is that once you invest so much time into trying to learn a trick, it's almost, you get to this point of like, I wouldn't want to call it like the point of no return, but the point of like, you've invested so much time into something that like you look back and you go, I should just try and keep learning it, even if it feels impossible, right? And I've never really heard any other people really say this, but like, there's been some tricks, man, I'm just like, people probably just think I'm crazy. They're probably just like, why are you even trying it still? Like, you've been doing this for 2 years, you can't even land it, right? But the thing is like, there's something, I've just put so much time into it that it's like, I almost like can't back out now, And it's very interesting to think about that, right? Anyway, let's see here. Where is that verse? We were going into that one where something about falling down 7 times. The wicked fall, or the righteous fall 7 times and then rise again, but the wicked stumble in times of calamity. It's a proverb somewhere in here. Where is it? Proverbs 24:16. For the righteous fall 7 times and rises again, but the wicked stumble in times of calamity, right? Why this is starting to make me think about failure, right, is because it's weird, because even it says the righteous falls 7 times. And now here, we actually did do a Bible study on this one in particular. And what was weird about one of these Bible studies is one of the Bible studies went into the number 7, right? The number 7, I think, means, I'm going to have to look it up again, but it means something like completeness or something, or, so it's this, it's almost, and some of these commentaries, what they were saying is that even if we fall, we are going to rise again, right? We are going to continue to keep back and keep going and try, and ultimately almost kind of, it makes me think about, in some degree, maybe even a sense of consistency, right? Of trying to keep going. And as actually I didn't think I was going to think about a combo today, right? But thinking about that and thinking about some of the commentaries we went into about the number 7, about, continuing to rise again, to continue to, even if we fall, right? Even if we fail, we're going to continue to keep pushing forward, right? And it makes me think about Psalms 1, right? Now, I don't think I actually thought about this combo. I didn't even think I was even going to find a combo today, but I mean, I don't know if this is really a combo, by the way, so take this one with a grain of salt, too. Take all the combos I say with a grain of salt, too, but sometimes it does make me, now it's making me think about this one, right? He is like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither, right? That's Psalms 1:3. And it makes me think about that, right? Because it makes me think about, like, trees. It makes me think about, most trees, their leaves fall, and if we are to be like David, meditating on the laws of the Lord day and night, ultimately, David likens the people that do that to people that don't wither away, right? So we are to, I don't know, I guess maybe be consistent in some degree. I think that's ultimately, let's read Psalms 1. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. Now that's the other, maybe we should get into that word meditates, right? Now I think when most people think about meditating, they think about, some dude going, something like that. But I think we did look into that, and meditating is more about just thinking, pondering, looking into, even just searching, just trying to think and look deeper into it, right? About the word, right? He is like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither. In all that he does, he prospers. The wicked are not so, but are like chaff that the wind drives away. You know, that's the other strange thing. Just even reading that one, I didn't even think I was going to think about that. You know, the wicked are not so, but are like chaff that the wind drives away. You know what's weird? It's so strange thinking about that thing that I just said about, you know, imagine all the things that you just forgotten about. You just got bored with. You've totally forgotten about it, but you invested a lot of time into. A lot of time, a lot of energy. And those things, you look back and you're like, what in the world? I forgot I put that much time into that, right? And then it's weird thinking about the things that have lasted, right? The things that have, for some odd reason, you're just still into it, right? You're just like, you know, I know that some people get burnt out of things, but it's those things that are weird that I find that I'm just like, I can't believe I'm still doing this, right? It's like those things that it's like, I think in most cases people would be like, dude, you should be burnt out by now. Like, why are you even doing that? But for some odd reason, it's still there, right? And, you know, I could name a couple things around, even the bike. For some odd reason, the bike has been something that still just, you know, it still sticks with me. And, you know, and other things as well, but many other things, man. It's almost like it almost reminds me of like chaff. Like the wind just came and just blew it away. And it's now I'm just left with these little kernels or something. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see here. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knows the ways of the righteous, but the ways of the wicked will perish. Now that's weird. What does this mean right here? Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment. Isn't that so weird? What does that mean? I have no idea. I mean, that's for a whole nother Bible study. But what does that mean right there? Therefore, the wicked will not stand in the judgment. That's so strange. Intriguing. Okay, let's see here. Let's look up a commentary. Actually, let's look up something about failure, right? Like some things about failure. Now, before I get into it, I'm trying to think of if there is any other verses or stories I can think of. It almost kind of even makes me think of, It makes me think of, you know, the story where there's the fishermen and then they're on the boat and then Jesus tells them to cast the net and they're like, what are you talking about, bro? I mean, I don't say it like that, but they're like, we've been fishing out here all day. What do you, like, almost like, who is this dude, right? We work these waters. What are you talking about? And he tells them to cast the net, and then they catch a bunch of fish, right? It's like, what in the world? Like, you know, I think right there almost makes me think of failure, right? Because now if we were in that position, right? Imagine you being a fisherman, you out on the waters, and you're just basically trying to fish, and you're not catching anything, right? It just makes me wonder, right? It's just strange, right, to think about that, right? And then the Lord of Lords and King of Kings comes around, and he's just like, boom. It's almost like, yeah, it's so strange, right? Because would you consider that failing? And then, I don't even know. Anyway, that kind of reminds me of some sort of thing about failure. Okay, let's look up this question, okay? So we're gonna type this in right now. We're gonna type in, what does God think about failure? Let's see here. Okay, let's see here. Let's read what Got Question says. This is the second one that comes up. It says, "What does the Bible say about failure?" Now, I haven't read this one. It's not purple, so let's see here. To fail from time to time is only human, but to be a failure is when we are defeated by failure, refusing to rise and try again. Man, that just reminds me of that verse we're going into today. I wonder if they're going to bring it up. I think they're going to bring it up. That right there, let's just read that again, because that basically almost just reminds me of Proverbs 24:16, right? For the righteous falls 7 times and rises again, but the wicked stumble in times of calamity. Let's read this again. To fail from time to time is only human, but to be a failure is when we are defeated by failure, refusing to rise and try again. Christians sometimes believe They should be immune to failure by virtue of their relationship with God. But the truth is that God often allows us to fail for a variety of reasons. Job 14:1 says, "Man born of woman is of few days and full of trouble." That doesn't say unbelievers or the ungodly. It says man born of woman. What does that mean? Everyone, life is full of trouble, even for those who belong to God through faith in Christ. We are to expect it. This means God does not promise life to be without problems, sorrow, and yes, failure, just because we believe in him. Luke 9:1-5 describes how Jesus sent his disciples out to preach the gospel and perform miracles. He also taught them how to handle failure. Interesting. If people do not welcome you, shake the dust off your feet, and when you leave their town, as a testimony against them. Jesus wanted, man, it's so strange that they thought about, I didn't even think about that. It's so weird, right? Like they're not, I'm wondering if they're even going to bring up any of the verses that I thought about. Like they're going into something that those stories for some odd reason were like, they don't even pop up in my mind. It's so weird to think about that, right? Okay, Jesus wanted the soon-to-be apostles to model themselves after him. He gave them power and authority over devils, power to heal the sick. Most of all, Jesus wanted them to have boldness. Boldness. Interesting. That reminds me of Proverbs 28:1. They're not even going. It's so weird how some of these commentaries, they like bring up these things, like even just that, see how it says just that one word, boldness, right? That one word just reminds me of Proverbs 28:1 right there. So let's go into Proverbs 28:1. This is actually one of the first Proverbs that I really started. I think this actually might be the first Bible verse I even started remembering. Like in term, so the other thing about Proverbs, by the way, is I had a Christian friend growing up, and I've already said this prior to other streams, but way back in the day, like I used to be actually really into like the whole like astronomy thing, right? Where you look it up and they have like this daily thing. They're just like, oh, your day is gonna be like this or this or this, and I do that every single day, right? I'd be like, what in the world? Like, okay, I don't do that stuff anymore, by the way. But the thing is, my Christian friend, he told me that I could read one proverb a day because it would, there's 31 proverbs and you can read a proverb a day, and that's what I started doing. And Proverb was actually the first book I actually started really getting into because it was something that I would do daily. It sounds ridiculous, right? But Proverbs was the first book. I think it actually might be. I don't know how other people got into the Bible, but that is. I do remember that's legitimately how I got like first into reading like the scriptures was because of Proverbs. I would just read a proverb a day. I'd be like, okay, well, what proverb is today? Anyway, I keep going on tangents anyway, but that's here. So we were talking about boldness, right? So boldness reminds me of this. Proverbs 28:1. The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. Now, I do like lions, right? I think most believers like lions. If you actually meet a lot of believers, they're going to start, you're going to, I think the lion, in most cases, the lion represents, the lion of the tribe of Judah. This verse, a lot of believers like this verse, Proverbs 28:1, to be as bold as a lion, right? Lions are cool. Okay, let's see here. Let's get back to this commentary. Where are we at? Something about boldness. Okay, let's see. Most of all, Jesus wanted... It's kind of strange how he said that. Most of all, Jesus wanted them to have boldness. Do you really... I don't know about most of all. Why? I wonder if they wrote that a little bit. Now, see, that's the weird thing is I'm wondering... It's weird, like, reading some of the sentences, right? And I go... Man, if I were to say that into an entire group of believers, right, I think maybe they'd be like, I don't know about most of all, right? Because I think most of all, you'd be to proclaim the gospel, right? Or something. I don't know, right? So take that with a grain of salt, but that is what is written right there on this Bible commentary. Anyway, most of all, Jesus wanted them to have boldness. He knew that not everyone was going to receive the truth about him, but in saying, shake the dust from your feet, he meant for them to move on and plow forward. Witnessing and being rejected can make us feel like failures. But if we understand we are to expect it. John 18. What appears to be failure actually becomes a badge of honor. When we feel failure come against us, our first reaction may be to run or give up. When it comes to sin, we are capable of avoiding it. Even in complete faith, love, devotion to God, we can fall. But God is not shocked. God is not shocked by this. Sorry, I'm reading really bad today. I need to get more focused. I've literally messed up 10 words already. Let me get focused in here. There's been some days where I've messed up once, but I've already messed up 10 times reading this thing. Okay, let's see here. Shocked by this, which is why he sent his son to die for our sins. We get back up again and we start over, but we should know that we cannot do it alone. We must keep our eyes on our Savior, following and obeying him and laying aside the sin that inevitably leads to spiritual failure. As Hebrews 12:1 says, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. God has marked out a course for each of us, and sometimes that course includes failure. But when we cling to the Savior, even our failures can be turned into successes by the one who controls all things and who strengthens us in our weakness. Man, I've totally forgotten about that verse. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I literally did a Bible. See, that's the weird thing, right? We have literally done a Bible study on this verse that they just brought up, and I completely forgot it, right? Isn't that so weird, right? And I guess this is the other strange thing about doing things, because I don't really go into these things knowing what I'm really about to say, right? I honestly have more fun just trying to search things out. We're searching together, right? We're searching together. We're trying to and I feel like I have more fun that way, because quite honestly, I get very I don't know about anybody else, but because there were some times where I'm okay, well, I'm going to try and say this. I'm going to try and say this. And then for some reason, I get very, what's the word? I almost get nervous. I'm I almost start thinking, I start overthinking. I'm should I, man, I put a lot of thought into writing that, and now I got to say it. Should I really say that? That's why I like doing the streams, because I'm just all right, well, let's go. We're just going to go for it. We're going to look it up right here and just boom. Yeah, because I just feel like it's more fun for me. I just feel like I honestly think I'd get burnt out if I was just to write everything down and then re-say everything that I just wrote down that I don't know, something like that. I like just doing it. We're just searching together, right? Okay, let's see here. What is this? What is Philippians 4:11, which we did a Bible study on the other week? What is it? It says something about strengthen our weaknesses, right? Not that I am speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. And in every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. And I need to click on this. It has to load. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. That's not even the right verse. I thought that was... What's that verse? I think they might have linked the wrong verse. For when I am weak, then I am strong. For when we are weak, then we are strong. That's a very good one for failure, I think, as well. 2 Corinthians 12:10. Let me see here. Come on. Man, I think my internet might be slow. I wonder if... Wait a minute. Is my stream even working? What's up? Hey, what's up, dude? Welcome there. Welcome to the Awkward Bible Study, where we try and study the Bible. Try to put God first. Try to glorify God, even though I don't know if it's really, we're trying, okay? Sometimes it gets awkward, but we're trying. I guess that's what matters, right? We're just trying. Let's see here. 2 Corinthians 12:10. Sorry, it's for some reason it's not 2 Cor 12:10. For some reason my internet's like slow or something. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses and insults and hardships and persecutions and difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. See, it's so strange that he says that, right? We are to delight in our weaknesses. Isn't that so? It's like, it's so strange. Let's read some other. What is some other? What does some other translations say on this? What does the KJV say? Okay, therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distresses for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Man, it's so strange, right? Just think about that. It's weird that the KJV says they take pleasure in the weaknesses. Delight in weaknesses. Huh. See, that's the weird thing if you think about that, right? Delighting in our weaknesses. Isn't that strange, right? It makes me, I know this sounds weird, but it makes me think about like the technological age that we're in, right? You know, say even you take like Instagram, right? Even if you go on my Instagram, even my Instagram, my biking Instagram, those right there are just I try to just show like the things that I've landed, right? Like the highlights of all the things that I've done, right? But would you consider those weaknesses, right? Isn't that strange, right? It's just strange to think about. And then it's strange to think about delighting in our weaknesses, right? Huh. Just odd. In some cases, I think most people want to revel in their strengths or something like that, right? Instead of maybe doing the opposite and delighting in the weaknesses. But take that with a grain of salt, right? Let's see here. Okay, where are we at here? I got totally sidetracked. I guess not really sidetracked. It's just because he brought up this verse. Our ultimate victory in Jesus is assured, but complete victory will only come when we are out of this world of temptation and safe in the arms of the Lord in heaven. And that was the end of that commentary. Okay, let's read another commentary. It's so weird. They didn't even bring up any of the verses that I brought up. Isn't that weird, right? Now, what do people think about that? We read a commentary from Got Questions. Now it almost makes me think, does this one even mention about anything about failure? Because let's look at the one that I brought up. For the righteous falls 7 times and rises again, but the wicked stumble in times of calamity, right? I don't know about you guys, but for some reason, that one makes me think about failure. I don't know, right? But then it's weird when you read a commentary and they like don't bring up any verse that you even thought of, right? So it's like, sometimes it makes me question. It's like, is it what, you know? I don't know, but yeah, I guess you guys gotta get into that one yourself, right? But honestly, when I think about Proverbs 24:16, that makes me think about failure, about like trying to keep going, right? Let's see here. Now, this is on a site that I've never seen before. This is on intervarsity.org. Never seen this site before, but it says, what does God think of failure? And then it has this little picture and stuff like that. Let's read it. Let's read it. Maybe they'll bring up the verse that I brought up, or maybe they'll bring up some other ones that I didn't think about, right? Or the other person didn't think about. Okay, what does God think of failure? I remember sitting on a couch a couple years ago across my spiritual director explaining why I felt like a failure. The ministry I had been leading for a few years wasn't going well. I'd spent a lot of time hoping for breakthrough, praying for growth, setting and then chasing after goals only to face decline and disappointment. My spiritual director sat patiently and listened while I explained how I was feeling. Then he paused and smiled and looked at me and gently said, well, I suppose the cross looked like a big failure too. Huh. Intriguing. Boom. On his way to victory, Jesus looked like a complete failure. And Jesus is by no means the only failure venerated in scriptures. Just take a look at the Old Testament prophets. They were called to warn God's people to turn back to God to avoid judgment, destruction, and exile. Yet prophet after prophet was ignored, ridiculed, and persecuted. And in the end, God carried Israel into exile. It seems like the prophets were colossal failures, but their failure wasn't the end of the story. God used the prophets in powerful ways to prepare his people for the coming of his son, the Messiah, and to help women and men for thousands of years to come to better know God's character and purposes in the world. That's very, very it's so odd, man. Sometimes I'm going to be totally real. Sometimes it's so weird reading some of the things in the Bible, right? And then you look at modern society and you're just like, what in the world, bro? Because if you read a lot of these prophets, right, about a lot of these prophets, they lived very unorthodox lives. Like, I think most people, even today, even if we were, I bet if we were to even see or even meet even the spirit of some of these prophets, we just think they're just maybe even just, because a lot of these prophets, they lived in the wilderness. They were just, doing all these very interesting, like, just very unorthodox things at the time of where they were living in, right? And sometimes I just think about that, and I think about our modern society, and I just go, man, how much crazier. It's like you can only imagine how much crazier if they were living like that back in the day. How do you think people would think about them nowadays? Like that would be just, I don't know, man. It's very interesting to think about. And sometimes that's the weird thing about sometimes like going into church, right? Because, like sometimes when you go into church, like people kind of want to like, like dress their best and stuff like that, and just kind of, be there with their families, and it's very like, you don't want to stick out like a sore thumb or anything like that, right? But then I think about the prophets and I go, man, in some weird way, they almost did kind of just, I don't know, dude, it's so weird. It's so weird. I'm wondering if anybody else thinks that's weird, right? It's just like, I go, man, imagine if that dude was just sitting right next to me in church right there. I'd be like, I wonder if people would just like, turn around and be like, who is this guy, man? Like, what are you doing in here or something, right? I don't know. That's sometimes what I think about. I'm like, man, it's interesting. Okay, let's see here. The most important thing about failure. Apparently, failure and disappointment come with the territory of Christian leadership and ministry. When we set goals, we hope for great things, and then we have to deal with the fallout when we fail to reach our goals and when things fall short of what we hope for. Failure is never the end of the story, though. The most important thing about failure is how we respond. It's easy to respond poorly to failure. The pain can lead us into apathy. It's too painful to care, so why bother hoping? Is that what apathy means? It's kind of strange because my... what's very odd about that word apathy, and I brought up that thing about words, is my Christian friend, he was like really into metal and like the hardcore scene, right? His band was actually called Carnal Apathy. Apathy. I never really I looked up the definition a long time ago. Okay, apathy. Lack of interest, enthusiasm, or concern. Huh. Apathy. Oh, I almost exited out of it. I'm glad I didn't. I would have to find the Bible. Okay, here we go. Where are we at? Okay, lead us into apathy. Okay, the pain can lead us into apathy. It's too painful to care, so why bother hoping? See, I'm wondering how many times that like occurs. Apathy. I've never really heard that word used that much, right? But I think that is actually a very interesting thing. Thinking about failure and apathy. This is actually very weird. We've looked into some commentaries, right? Not only the one that I read previously on Got Questions, but we did look up this question about what God thinks about failure, right? Now, this is the first time someone's brought up apathy and failure, and I feel like I'm going to maybe remember that, because I almost feel like apathy or like failure can lead us into apathy, and then almost apathy can even make us even have this weird sense of a fear of failure, right? It's like, oh, I'm gonna fail, so I'm not even gonna try. Like, I don't even want to that whole caught up thought process, and very strange. And what's weird thinking about that whole thing about failure. Now I know this is like not really related. To me, it's kind of related, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like just like the whole flatland thing. It's almost like I feel like just learning flatland in general. It's almost like you have to like like, just accept the fact that you're going to fail. Just like streaming in some weird way, right? It's like you have to accept that you're going to fail, and you just have to, like, somehow keep going. And I think that's the weird thing. It's almost like this trial of your own patience of your mind to see how long can you keep going, right? Like, imagine you were to tell somebody you're going to fail at something for like 2 years straight trying to do something, right? And then maybe you might learn it or something, right? I think most people would be like, what in the world is this guy talking about? Anyway, let's see here. Or we can see failure as a reflection of ourselves and allow the voice of failure to tell us things like, see, you are a failure. You shouldn't lead. You're bad at this. But there is a better path. I can respond to failure by trying to learn. Maybe I was disobedient to God, or maybe I had a really bad idea that flopped. Maybe I set unrealistic goals. If so, how can I learn from my mistake? How can God shape me? I can allow failure to push me closer to the relationship with Jesus. I can allow failure to invite me to cultivate deeper faith. I like that. Cultivate, to grow. Cultivate deeper faith. Failure affords me an opportunity to identify with the great failures of Scripture and to know that God is with me even in the pain of disappointment. Failure drives me to deeper prayer. It can strengthen my resolve to hope more and to work harder on behalf of the dreams God has given to me. In truth, failure is one of the best places to meet God. I still don't like it, but nothing has made me a better leader, grown my character and faith, or taught me more about God than my experience of failure. Taking our failure to Jesus. I imagine many of us looking at the places we've experienced failure. In our ministry this fall, we're sitting with disappointment, hard questions, and pain. In the midst of your failure, what is the invitation of Jesus to you? Don't give in to apathy. Don't give in to the lies that failure wants to tell you. Instead, embrace your failure, and Jesus will transform you into something amazing. And that was from Matt Meyer. That's who wrote this. This one actually, some of these commentaries, like, they don't show you who writes them, but this one actually is from Matt Meyer, which I'm actually curious if this guy's actually related to Trevor Meyer. Is that his name? I think it might be Trevor Meyer, but there's this flatland rider that's also a believer. I think he won X. He actually did win X Games in the 90s or something. Trevor Meyer. Maybe we should listen to that. I think there was actually there was this actually bike ministry, now that I think about it. Trevor Meyer interview. Oh yeah, here it is. I'm wondering if this dude's related to this guy. I mean, they have the same last name. Look. So this guy has this last name, Meyer. And then check this out. This is the Flatland rider that won, like... Wait, is that the same name? Let's see here. Did I just get that wrong? Yeah, it is the same last name. And then this is the guy right here that won, like, X Games. He literally won first place X Games gold, Flatland. Trevor Meyer. And it's funny because he's a believer too. This like interview right here is actually him like talking about his faith and stuff. I think there was one verse he mentioned something. I remember this thing. I think the verse that Trevor quoted in the interview is he said, like, he brought up the one about Jesus, right, where I think he says he is the way, the truth, and the life, right, something like that. Take that with a grain of salt. It might be a wrong verse, but I'm pretty sure because I've listened to this interview maybe like 2 times or something like that. But yeah, Trevor Meyer's gnarly. He still rides to this day, which is crazy. I actually haven't seen him ride in a while, but Trevor Meyer, huh? Maybe there's something to be learned. I've actually forgot. It's sad. I've actually forgotten about Trevor. There's probably something. There's definitely something to be learned about this rider. He's literally still riding. And man, that's really gnarly. Anyway, I guess that was the Bible study today. So let's just keep going with our failures. I think, okay, so one thing, if I were to have an overview of what I will take, or hopefully I could take away from this Bible study, is about apathy, about failure, maybe the fear of failure. Maybe apathy can drive us into the fear of failure of not even wanting to try at all. And also thinking about like the cross, right? Because I think in most cases, if we imagine you being way back in the day and you seeing Jesus on the cross, right? I think like people would be like, what in the world, bro? This is not working or something like that, right? Only to have it be one of the things that changes humanity. Let's see here. Is this even working? I didn't even check to see if my stream was working. Oh well, hopefully it is. And these Bible studies are really weird, huh? But that's the weird thing. I know these Bible studies are super awkward and they're super weird, but I'm gonna be real. I always feel like we're getting something out of it, right? Or I feel like I do anyway. I feel like it's like we're trying to eat, we're trying to like get some sustenance in us that hopefully can help us. Okay. Cheers, everybody. Let's chug this coffee. Let's do the card draw. And let's get into the bike riding. Maybe there's something we can learn from Trevor Meyer, right? I know there's some combos. I don't know. I've actually now that I remember, I kind of almost like gave up. A lot of the combos that Trevor did, like I just gave up on him because I know there was one. There's actually, but the thing is he starts gliding into a lot of things, right? I think he does do the backyard the same way that I do the backyard. But the thing is that he does it brakeless, and he like, I don't know, man. I don't even know how. No, he does it with his front brake. I don't know how he's really like doing it. It's like, yeah, Trevor Meyer, check him out. Maybe we can watch his like X Games thing, but it's gnarly. Yeah, he does like some crazy backyard combos. Like he'll do he does like a crazy like pivot backyard glide no hander to like pivot like peg wheelie time machine, something like that. Okay, we're just shuffling this up. I should probably change these cards out pretty soon here because I know we've been sticking with the same set for a long time. We can change these out. I just don't, I just haven't done it. All right, let's see here. Marley. Ooh, man, dude, this dude just so many. Bro, you're gnarly, dude. Man, he posts a lot, dude. There's this guy that plays WoW, and like every time it's like, dude, I'm like, dang, man, you're posting so much, dude. It's crazy. Well, he's really consistent too. Like every single time I open it, it's like that dude has something new. It's crazy. Okay, let's see here. How are we doing this? Greetings, travelers. Welcome to the card draw of the day. Something that we can kind of keep consistent. They're fast to post, and we get to observe some artwork. So let's see here. The card of the day is Victory Herald. I do remember I traded my friend's brother for this card a very, very long time ago. Interesting. Who did this one? Oh, RK Post. He does a lot of oil paintings. A lot of oil paintings. I'm actually surprised he painted this one. Forgot. And that is the card of the day. Victory's Herald. And so what does the flavor text say? The corruption stirred the heavens above, awaking a shining champion. From RK Post, 2011. Okay. Here's the card of today. I think what's a little weird about this one is victory the opposite word for failure? I don't know. Or I guess success would be the opposite word for failure, but it's funny that the very first card that we draw, Victory's Herald. I'm wondering what that word means. What does herald mean? I actually don't know what that word means. Let's look that up. What does that mean? Herald. I've looked at that card so many times. I've never even... I thought that was the name of it, but I think that actually means something. I think it means like a shield, right? Herald definition. An official messenger bringing news. A person or thing viewed as a sign that something is about to happen. What in the... That is what that word means? Dude, I totally didn't... I thought herald meant shield. I mean, I thought that's what that meant, because if you look at it, it almost looked like it has, like, shield wings. Which is actually, that looks really weird. Man, doesn't that look weird? This thing has, like, shield wings. But I didn't know that's what herald meant. A sign that something is about to happen. That's weird. I never knew that's what that word meant. But I think that's what's weird about this bird. Look, this, like, angel has, like, shield wings. Like, how crazy would that be, just like shield wings? Okay, number 2. Elvish Visionary. This is the flavor text on this one. From a tiny sprout, the greatest trees grow and flourish. May the seeds of your mind be equally fruitful. Number 3. Huh. Apostle of Blinding Lights. Number 4. We got the island that we drew yesterday. Island. Number 5. Ooh, Brilliant Halo. Okay, I like that. Very old, reminds me of old Christian artwork. 5. Oh wow, another angel. Aegis Angel. I really like the look of that one. That one looks gnarly, dude. Man, that one's really cool, huh? What's weird is someone did say something about doves. I don't know why people say that. I heard, we're going to have to maybe look that up tomorrow or something. But there's something that I like, is this, the heck? Oh, wait. I need to get some new sleeves. I'm almost messing up this card. Anyway, there's something, about doves, and some people say it like resembles like the Holy Spirit or something. Or maybe we'll look that up tomorrow. Huh. Ancestors' Prophets. Last card. Bant Sureblade. Interesting. And this was the hand for today. let's get into bike riding. Man, it's crazy. I've done that so many times. It's like scratched up right there. Okay, I'll be back. I will be back. Let's do this. Let's go out and fail, everybody. Man, I would really like to do a 7 fire hydrant tail whip. Seven. Dude, actually, that's funny. That is funny. Eventually, we're gonna. That's my goal right here, man. I want to do 7 fire whips. Yesterday. That was crazy. Okay, let's put this camera a little bit, fix this up a little bit. I like this song. a triple. I want to get 4. I want to get 7 actually. How am I going to get 7 when I can't even get 4? How do they do it? I have no idea. You gotta be so on it, dude. And you can't mess up a little millisecond. I'm gonna try my flip the other way. See, that's the other thing. I see people doing it with their foot like this, and then some do it like with their foot like that. I feel like when you do it with your foot like this, you have more room, right? Like if you mess it up, you can save it. Whereas if you do it like this, your foot can slide off, right? So I'm trying to maybe relearn it with my foot like this. I also want to learn double decades. How do people do double decades? I see so many people doing that trick. There's no how-to on how to do it. I've been stuck on it for like 3 years. This trick's so gnarly. Why can't I do it? This frustrates me. I landed. I landed 7 of them. Oops. Decade of boomerang? I feel like my brakes hurt. I always have to adjust my brakes or something. Something's always wrong on my bike. I need some legit front brake forks, man. I always have to clean this stuff up. I feel like every time I clean my rim, it's like changing how the trick feels. It's probably not good. But then my brakes don't work, so I have to keep cleaning them. I wonder if that's how they learn double decades. Just decade to boomerang. Woo. I feel like that's how you learn double decades. Is this what they don't tell you? Brakes, man. So sketchy. Sketchified. Oh, that was gnarly. What the? That looks crazy. Dude, that thing looks crazy, bro. That's such a crazy trick. That's such a gnarly trick. I can't even imagine doing that right now. That's such a gnarly trick. Bro, why can't I do any of these? Why is this trick so inconsistent? That's what I'm wondering. So I can do 2, but once you get past 2, it gets really inconsistent. My cable's stretching out. What the heck is going on? Something's going on that feels sketchy. I feel like I'm getting closer though, for sure. That's next on the list to learn. line we could just do from the under. Okay, what about, let's figure something out. I almost did it. I should have not done that one. Dude, I'm starting to land the, I'm starting to get this trick kind of down now. There's just like this tipping point. It feels like there's this weird, awkward tipping point, but if you can get over it, it actually works. What trick am I going to do after this? Let's do like a kickflip line after. Kickflip like decade line or something. At least I'm getting into it more. Let's do that and do a fire hydrant decade. Or actually, let's do that. Under to kickflip to fire hydrant decade. That'd be a cool looking combo line. I'm barely about to ride in that. I'm gonna do more over there. why can I land one and then I can't land one again? It doesn't make sense, right? I got stuck. That trick's so weird. I literally landed one. Oh, man. Oh, well. It's weird. Like I feel like I can only land like one out of like 20, and I just started losing steam. Practice these. Try some whiplashes. Terrible at this. I feel like that's a good way to learn it. You just gotta keep doing the whiplash and then putting your foot on this peg. Bro, his area is so... Dude, he's running like a 10 by 10 square area. That's gnarly, dude. His little riding spot's crazy, bro. That dude from Germany. I think he's from Germany. That's true, yeah. Huh. Doot, 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 doot. Brutal. What is this? Man, I'm out of it today. I need more energy. Oh no. The heck, they got rid of that video. No! Bro, they got rid of it. Oh well. Huh. Should be in here, huh? Huh, that's weird. They got rid of it. Hmm. Oh, let's have to find it again. No, they got rid of the playlist, man. That was a really good playlist. No worries. Maybe they got caught with a copyright thing. this is. I think that's on copyright. I'm pretty sure it is, yeah. Just trying to find. I'll just make a whole new playlist, I guess. Just gotta flip over a lot. That one was weird, it was all slow. go with the momentum. Practice as we practice this double boomerang too. What's my upbeat? Oopsies. Man, there's so many commercials everywhere. So many commercials. So much stuff on copyright. Is this on copyright? Oh wow, this isn't on copyright. That was it right there. That was really cool. That felt awesome. Dude, it's going down. That combo is going down. I don't know how long it's going to take, but well, at least I landed that first part. See, I want to do the flail to half boomerang, flail half boomerang to half hydrant decade. I almost did it right there. That's been my best attempt right there. It's weird because like you have to like snap it. There's like this little area where you gotta snap it. It's really fun though. It almost feels like you have to like keep your weight really low. But I don't know, it's weird because like when you see people doing the multiple boomerangs, it seems like they do something with their legs to keep their momentum going. And I don't really know how to get that. It's like a balance point, it's weird. How do they do it? If you're out there, we need a multiple boomerang how-to. I'm doing a boomerang and a half. I'm actually cheating it because I'm landing it and then getting into the other one. But I think that's how they learn it. I think this is how you learn multiple boomerangs. I'm not too sure though. Like that. Oh, I want to land it so bad. It's like mixing all of my boomerang decade combos into one. I think all I have to do if I want to learn the double decade, or the double boomerang, is just not aim for this, and just push it like this, and then I have to like snap this leg around. But I think this might be how you learn double boomerangs. Somebody said something. Yeah, the double boomerang, dude. So here's the weird thing. I've been wanting to learn double decades. I see a bunch of people doing the double decade, right? But what's weird is I've been stuck on the double decade for like 3 years. I cannot do a double decade. And then it's weird because I was like, okay, well then, what got me trying this one is I started doing the decade to track stand, right? I started doing this one. Let's see here. And then that opened up like the decade to boomerang. that one, decade track stand, and then I bet because I'm stuck right there. I can't do a double, like, that's my closest double decade is doing this one, decade track stand. It's like hard. But the thing is like, I've landed a double boomerang, so like, but what's weird is like a single decade is easier than a single boomerang for me. But then like a double decade's harder than a double boomerang. So it makes no sense. If you know how to do it, bro, you should make a how-to, because for some reason there's not a how-to on how to do multiple boomerangs and multiple decades. And I've been stuck on it for so long. So now I'm trying to do the double boomerang. Well, I'm actually cheating. This actually, I don't even know what this is called. This is so I'm doing, I think it's a flail. So I'm doing this, then I'm landing right here, and then hopping over right here into a half hydrant. And then I want to go like that. I need to get on it, yeah. Actually, decade was one of my, like, probably my first flatland trick I learned. Yeah, Rich Slezak, Gabe Weed, and Ryan Russell, they like taught it to me. Because at the time I didn't have pegs, right? And I just learned the decade by doing a tail whip. I just do a tail whip and then I just put my foot right here. But I did it with brakes. I think the brakeless decades are way harder. Because you gotta like do it right here. I've never done a brakeless decade. Those ones seem hard. Oh, it's so simple, but I can't do it. I think this is a flail. I don't know if this is a boomerang. I think this might be a flail. Hard. Then the double decade, man. I've been really wanting to learn the double decade. That's freaking hard, man. I can only do a decade in a track stand. Like, I don't see how they, like, do a whole nother one. Like, you gotta be fast. It's crazy because I saw someone do 4 of them. I think 4 is the record. I'm like, what in the world, bro? I can't even do 2. Yeah, I saw that. I think it might be 3 decades or 4 decades. There's some video on YouTube I saw. So, and he's doing it so fast, bro. It's ridiculous. He's just like, do, 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 do. It almost doesn't look real. It almost looks fake. I'm like, dude, there's no way that dude did that. See, that's the farthest I can get. It's just a decade to track stand. But I mean, I'm almost there. I have to just be a little faster. I might be able to do it. I know, I saw that. I think there's even a little Russian kid. There's some little Russian kid and like, his dad's like a flatlander. And he's his dad's just telling him all the secrets of like how to do all these tricks. When I saw some little kid do like a double decade, there's something about it. There's a secret to it, and I really don't know what it is. I think the secret might be learning boomerangs. I think that might be it. Because I think like the double boomerang, if you can learn the double boomerang, I think it really helps. Because that's what's been kind of getting me to the track stand from a decade. Like just because like learning these ones. I think if you master these ones, I think it unlocks the double decade way easier. Something like that. I don't know, there's no how-to. It just sucks because like none of my friends do this trick, so like I've like asked them, I'm like, dude, how do you guys do a double decade? And they're like, dude, we don't even do that. So I'm like, I don't really know who to ask, but I see it, people doing them, so. But yeah, I think the boomerang. So far, I think the boomerang's been, because it kind of gives you that muscle memory. Or even just like working on it like this. Just with your bike still and you just go like this. You know, just do this a lot. That's probably maybe how they learned it too. You just like keep doing that over and over and over again. You just gotta be like super quick. But I saw the one dude, he does them brakeless. You know that one John dude? I forgot his name. What's his name? It's like John something, but he'll do like a brakeless decade and then like get into another brakeless one and do another one. Yeah, John Yule, dude. That dude's gnarly, bro. He was doing them really old too. I was like, dang, bro. Yeah, these ones are fun too. The fire hydrant decade. I like doing these ones. Oh, no. Something like that. Yeah, decades are fun. A lot of decade combos. What are the ones that I've been trying today? I've been trying the whiplash. This trick's been the bane of my existence. The whiplash is so hard. Ah, that was actually a pretty good one right there. I like just want to do it to a hang five. That's all I want to do. Either a whiplash and a half or a whiplash to hang five. Because that would unlock so many combos. Oh, getting close. I haven't heard of that rider. The stylish decades? Huh. Oh yeah, this is what I've been trying too lately. Dude, I saw your YouTube videos, bro. You're really gnarly at, what's that called? What's that trick where you do the, you know when you're doing this, the regular foot, and like you rewind it? What's that called? Stubble duck? Dude, those are gnarly. I can't even imagine doing that right now. Those look super clean, man. I wonder if you could, can you do a switch with double duck? Yeah, hang 5 to whiplash. I can do a hang 5 to whiplash. It's just, for some reason, like, whiplashes are really inconsistent for me. They're just such a little finicky trick, man. Like, it feels like if you're off like a centimeter, like the whole thing just doesn't work. That's weird. But here's another one. I've been after the Undertaker to Generator. So, another one I've been after. I haven't done one yet, but I've been after it. There's a lot of combos with that one. I kind of want to try those pegs with those little knobs at the end. I wonder how much better that make pivots. Oh, that's it. But yeah, like, that one looks fun. So this one. Dude, I bet you can learn that one. Like if you learn the brakeless Undertaker, that one seems ridiculously hard, the brakeless Undertaker. But I bet you could do brakeless Undertaker to the Generator that you're doing. Like Generator stubble duck. That would be crazy. That's what I want to see. I want to see Undertaker, regular foot Generator, like stubble duck. Flatland's crazy, man. Brakeless Undertaker's hard. Yeah, I can't even imagine doing a brakeless Undertaker, honestly. You need to start off like this. I think the main one is just you gotta have your cranks in the right position. I always have my cranks right where this knob on my brakes are. I always just have it right there. Man, brakeless Undertaker would be so crazy. I can't even like imagine doing that. I think you have to stop your front tire. You'd have to do this, stop your front tire, kind of balance it out, and then go over. Really cool. Because you can also do this. You can also do the stick bee. I want to learn the stick bee into the Undertaker too. That's another reason why I've been wanting to learn it. Because you can do stick bee to Undertaker. Or switch with stick bee to Undertaker. It has to be done rolling, yeah. I'm not good at rolling tricks. For some reason, I can't really I don't know how people glide. Like I've been trying to learn how to glide my Generator. I still can't glide it. Like, I don't know how people. Gliding feels like it takes a long time. I can scuff it all day. Just gliding it with one scuff's hard. I need to learn that actually. It's weird. They need to make more how-tos on how to glide. Because I can do this. It's just gliding it. It's hard. But it seems like everybody glides. That's the weird thing, right? Like, I see so many of the pros, they do gliding tricks, right? And there's only like one how-to on how to glide. I'm like, what in the world, bro? Like, that's kind of why I started scuffing, because there's kind of more how-tos on how to scuff, right? But how to glide, it's not really, there's really not that many how-tos. See if I get a quad fire hydrant. Been after these for a while. Oh. My goal is to do 7 fire hydrants one day. I want to do 7 of these in here actually, one day. They're flashy. But they're so fun to do when you land them. Ah, that was a triple. I want to get, I want to do 7 of them. Like, if I got really good at it, I want to start a line and just do 7 fire whips. Just start like, and then do a line. Hey, do you know how to do the locomotive? I've been wanting to learn the locomotive too. I think, you know what's weird is the locomotive feels easier than the backyard no-hander. I think it's because you have like, I don't know, there's something different about the backyard, the locomotive. It feels way easier than the backyard no-hander. I've been wanting to learn this one too. That's basically all I can do though. But I feel like the locomotive is actually easier to hold than like the backyard no-hander, because I want to learn the backyard no-hander too. This one. Backyard tricks are hard. I've really been stuck on the backyard tricks. Ah, come on. Oh, those are fun, but they're so hard. I know, this thing's like super old. Let's see here. Let's put some music on. What other tricks have I been trying to learn? 3, 2, 1. I forgot what other tricks I've been trying to learn here. I guess Undertaker did. To Gerator. See how he used to do a line. Oh, fuck. Swivels are fun. Let's see, what about this line? Ay. Oh my god. Those are fun. Dude, I saw people, they like do a hang 10 no-hander and they just hold it for like 20 feet. It's not a cliffhanger or Messiah because they're like not up here, right? But they're like, you know, and they're not like behind the seat like a cliffhanger. They're just sitting down like this. You just go like this. For like 20 feet. I've been wanting to learn it, but fuck. I haven't actually done that combo before. Dude, the gerator with the cassette is weird because I have to like wait until my crank's like right here, and then like I could do a little hot potato no-hander, but if that's why I have this tape right here. So I have like this pink piece of tape right here, so I can like keep track of where my cranks are in the gerator. I've already kind of done this combo a bit, so it's nothing really too new. Just that hang 10 no-hander part's hard. Yeah, I have a free coaster, I'm just not good at it. It's actually weird because like, so like I grew up like racing. You know, I grew up racing, I grew up like riding street and park. And the thing is that I use the pedal pressure a lot. Like actually, because Ryan Russell actually gave me his old free coaster, but even just that little bit of slack, it like messes me up. It's weird. Like I can't really like land tricks. I guess that's kind of the bad thing is because I started riding flatland just with a cassette, you know? And then when I put on a free coaster, I just couldn't do it, man, for some reason. Like especially this trick right here. So for the stick bee no-hander, or just the stick bee in general, I actually, when I land it, I put so much weight on my pedal and it actually like helps me get out of it, right? So like this trick, I use pedal pressure to land the trick, and I can't do it with a tree coaster. It's weird, but I can land it with a cassette. I don't know, maybe I'm just not used to the tree coaster. So like this trick, you know, when I land it, I actually used like the pedal pressure a bit. I put my foot on it, kind of like, just like that little bit of like weight on the pedal, kind of like gives me that little bit of momentum, you know? I don't know, it's weird. I think there's some coasters that have adjustable slack and you make feel, yeah. I was actually thinking about maybe getting one of those like planetary hubs. I think the planetary hubs have some sort of mechanism that basically has no slack. Do 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 do. Almost did it. That was so close. Oh man. I've only landed that combo once. Yeah, I've been trying to mess around with that combo like ever since I've been trying to learn the double decade, and I just did the decade to track stand. I've just been trying to figure out. I feel like that one can unlock a lot of combos, like the decade to track stand. Because like even if I would have imagine landing that whole line, doing another decade into a track stand, you could do another line. But yeah, I have trouble landing stuff. I don't see how some flat riders are so consistent. It's crazy because it takes me a lot to just even land something. Like it's actually almost like it's like almost rare for me to land something. It's like at that level, like I can't even imagine being at a contest because I can't even land anything first tee really. That consistently. Maybe this. I do a lot of generators. If there's one combo I probably could do in a contest, it'd probably be something with a gyrator in it. Darren and I could do gyrators. The switch foot gyrators anyway. Because the switch foot gyrator was like my first like legitimate flatland trick I kind of learned. Besides the decade. It was probably, I like probably learned the decade, and then I learned like tail whip decade, and then I think I learned the switch foot gyrator, and then I learned the hang five. The hang fives. I've been trying to balance the front wheel and the back wheel up. There's like a squeaker line that's really cool. I can get it with the quarter pipe. Bar flips all day. I know, huh? Yeah, the front wheel tricks have been taking me, for some reason front wheel tricks take me like twice as long to learn. I don't know why. See if we do some front wheel stuff. A turbine steamroller. I think this is a turbine. I don't really know what this is. I think this is just a ride-in, but I've been trying to learn it. I see this in a lot of combos from people. Like that. And you go into like some sort of crack packer thing. But I have trouble with just this front part. Like I don't know what else to do from here. Like I feel like they go like put their leg over this. Something like that. How are you doing that? But I see like so many pros start off with lines like this. Like 20-point combos. I can't even do it though. I can't even do the first trick. That's the thing, I can't even do the first trick in their combos. Oh my goodness. This one's finicky. They make it look easy though, so that's the thing. Oh my goodness. Front wheel tricks, bro. The bane of me. Oh yeah, mixed circle. I've never learned the mixed circle. It's actually something I should learn. Yeah, for some reason, dude, front wheel tricks, man, they take me like so long to learn. Like, it's just ridiculous. I'm wondering if it's just my bike geometry. I'm thinking it might be my bike geometry, so I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe I gotta like put more time into it. I mean, eventually I want to learn the no-handed crack packer. So I saw somebody, they get into it from a funky chicken. So they do a funky chicken like this. And then like with this leg, so they do a funky chicken like this. They keep their hand on the outside, and then I think they just switch it off like that. And they're like, go like that or something like that. Maybe the fork offset. Yeah, that's probably what it is. Because I'm not running any offset. So I think that's been, I'm wondering like what, like if I had like the offset forks, the shorter stem, and then maybe the flat bars, because I know the flat bars don't have like a sweep onto them. That's probably what it is. But the other thing is I also ride like park and stuff, so I feel like I don't know what I would have to compromise. Like I wonder what it'd feel like to ride park with the offset stuff. Let's do a funky chicken tail. I also don't know how to go in a circle on a funky chicken. That's what I've been trying to figure out. It might even just be my forks too. But for some reason I just cannot go in a circle on a funky chicken. I just end up going a straight line. It's weird. See if I can clean up this that one line I did last week. The wheel is angled so it goes in a circle naturally. Yeah, for some reason I can't get in a circle. Like I'll show you. I struggle with that trick though. People say the funky chicken's easy, but I think the funky chicken's been taking me longer to learn than the gyrator. But see how I can't go in a circle? It just goes in a straight line. I don't know. I just like, I should be able to go in a circle, right? like everybody goes in a circle, and for some reason, like, it just doesn't go in a circle. session. See you later, bro. Peace out, dude. You're the only rider that really shows up in here, honestly. Peace out, man. Farewell. Oh, it's about time for me to... It's about time for me to eat too, man. Bro, I didn't even land a single thing today. Today is brutal, bro. I didn't land anything today. That's just how it is, man. Oh my goodness. I got close to landing some stuff, but... brutal. Again, I don't know. I'm just gonna have a normal thumbnail, I think. What you doing, Preston? Oof. Yeah, darn. I did not get a single clip today. No worries. That's just how it be. That's just how it be. That's the brutal thing about flatland. Sometimes these things are so hard to land. Anyway, I think it's time for me to eat. Man, I haven't even been drinking water. Huh. Okay, we're gonna try and learn the backyards. Oh yeah, we're trying to learn Undertaker to Sherator. That opens up a lot of combos. Undertaker, Sherator, Switchfoot to... I guess today was more just learning day. Yoop. Wow. Man, that's crazy, bro. What the heck? Bro, my friend's house got on fire in San Francisco. That's gnarly. Jeebus, man. Oh, you know what? I want to learn tail up to the Undertaker. Man, Tom Justice is gnarly, bro. How do you get so good? This dude just... oh my goodness, bro. You're gnarly, bro. You just do it so easy. Huh. Interesting. request. See anybody say anything? Okay. Oh yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to do the boomerang line. I forgot. That's what we were trying to learn. Oh wait, I think I did land something. When I think about it, I think I did land that one. Jeebus. Oh yeah, we need to end the stream. Or we need to leave it on a Bible verse. Let's see here. We have the centaur verse. He made my feet like the feet of a deer and set me secure on the heights. Psalms 18:33. The verse that reminds me of centaurs. Bro, today's sermon, not sermon, but today's Bible study, dude, it literally almost felt like today was just a representation of just failing over and over and over again. Okay, we out of here. Farewell, travelers. Maybe we'll do a WoW stream. We'll do a little WoW stream, maybe. I've been kind of trying to learn some arena stuff, so peace out, guys. Whoop.